Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday. That means it is Wisdom Well Wednesday. Today we are doing tarot and astrology, a powerful combination. So at this point, I've done a couple of astrology episodes before. I have also done quite a few tarot. So go ahead and watch some of those if you're unfamiliar with the tarot or with astrology and you want to know a little bit more. I do have some sort of 101s in there as well as some more niche ones. Have you ever wondered how the stars above can influence the cards you draw? In this video, we'll uncover the magical synastry between tarot and astrology, revealing how these two ancient practices can deepen and your insights and enhance your intuition. Join me as we explore how to harness the cosmic energies of the universe, along with the wisdom of the tarot to unlock your true potential. So today we are going to be diving into two very ancient tools, very ancient roots for both of these, astrology and tarot. As you're going to see in this episode, there are people that have linked them together as well, so that they can actually go together a lot better and a lot easier for you. So let's get started. So you're probably familiar with these two modalities separately, but did you know that you could actually put them together? And these could be done in sort of fun ways, like finding out what your tarot card is um, in response to your astrology. So what your star sign or your sun sign is in astrology would actually tell you what your tarot card is, or what planet your chart is governed by. You can actually find that in tarot, and you can get a better relationship with your cards through, or you can use your astrology as your significator card. So in tarot, sometimes we will pick a card to represent the person that we're doing the spread for. So if you're doing it for you or someone that you know the astrology of, you can actually find their card that represents them astrologically. So you can actually bring it together in that kind of fun way, but you could also use the two modalities together to help you understand them better. So say you know one a bit better than the other, or you're just learning one of them, you can actually help that. You can, with your knowledge of one, you can transfer it to the other one and help with the properties or the personalities of the cards or the planets or the signs. You can actually find a way of correlating them together, so it makes it easier for you. So I have done some astrology ones already, so go ahead and look back, especially at Astrology 101 on November the 5th, 2025. That'll help you understand a little bit more about astrology, but the extreme basics of it is it's the study of the stars, and most people know it because it's their birth chart and their star sign, right? So your birth chart, your natal chart, is the freeze frame of the sky the very moment that you were born. That's why astrologers need your exact time, or as close to the time as possible, so they can really say exactly how the sky looked and how that's influencing you. And that can come across as a little bit woo-woo for some people, and a lot of people that think it's woo-woo, they just look at their sun sign, they just look at their star sign, and they think that's not me at all. And that could possibly be because their ascendant or their moon or something like that is actually more them, is actually the stronger position in their chart. And so if they were to bring in other aspects of their chart, they would see exactly how they are, and their personality and their career and their love life and everything plays out a lot better because they're looking deeper into their chart. But because they've just looked at their sun, they don't necessarily resonate with that, and then they think, oh, it's all rubbish, and yeah, I don't want to bother with astrology. Pretty much astrology is a complex map of the sky, and as you study it, as you get to know it a little bit more, you can actually understand like reading another language, learning another language, right? You start off with the very basics, and then after a while, it just becomes second nature. It's just you just can glance at it, and it will give you the information that you need. So, without again going too deep, you've got your signs and you've got planets, and these are in what we call houses, which pretty much are just the slices of pie, as I call them. And it's the relationships and the angles and the aspects that the planets and the signs line up as, and we can actually find out a lot about somebody just by doing that. We can then look at what's called transit charts, where we can look into the future or into the past and see the freeze frame of the sky at a particular time and date, and compare that to somebody's birth chart or someone else's birth chart with your own to see how compatible you are, especially like this is more for like a love relationship usually, but it could be for family, it could be for friends, it could be for business partners. So it's absolutely fascinating. So yeah, so in a nutshell, it's a blueprint of you, and yeah, it can come across as quite woo-woo, but it's very, very scientific. It's a quite ancient scientific thing as well. So it's not just something that's just sprung into existence in the last few years. It's actually something that has been worked on for millennia. So it's very, very interesting. So what is tarot? I've done quite a few of these, but I'd probably say if you don't know anything, look at my one on January the 15th, I believe it was. The difference between tarot and oracle cards explained, because some people don't know the difference between that, and for that I explain exactly what tarot cards are. But look at any of them, they'll tell you a little bit about tarot. For those that don't know tarot, very, very quickly, it's usually about 78 cards, and they're divided into two. You have the major arcana and you have the minor arcana. The major arcana is usually made up of about 22 cards, and the minor is made up of 56. The minor also comes in suits, like playing cards, right? So like you'd have like spades and cups and hearts and diamonds in a playing card. In tarot, you usually have wands, swords, pentacles, and cups. That can sometimes change, especially if you have a themed one, like if you have like a TV show or something, it would be more to do with the TV show. Or some they change cups to chalices, so it's still a cup, it's just more like ancient and chalicey kind of thing, that kind of stuff. The suits, so the wands, the pentacles, swords, and cups, they represent the elements, so earth, air, fire, and water. This is important in this video because in astrology, the signs and the planets are also grouped into the four elements, earth, air, fire, and water. So already we can see a correlation between these two modalities where you have the elements gluing together or grouping together certain parts of the modality. Just to finish off with what tarot is. So tarot, you don't need to be psychic or anything. It's like a subliminal message, or it's like the symbolism in the cards can tap into your intuition or your subconscious or both. And I like to explain it like it's like having a conversation, or it's like reading a sentence. So usually you'll see somebody, they'll get their cards and they'll lay out like however many cards, right? And then they'll read it. So it's like reading a story or reading a sentence rather than reading each individual card. So, oh, this card, keyword, 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 this card, keyword, keyword, keyword. Instead of doing something like that, you actually see them as a bigger picture. What do these 5 cards together mean? Especially if you're putting them in a spread, perhaps the location in the spread means different things as well, right? So again, that sounds pretty hard, but it's actually really easy once you practice it. So yeah, so that is tarot. So tarot used to be kind of free and easy, and you could have anything in your deck. You could have any symbolism, you could have things about you or your family, you could have as many cards as you wanted. And still today, there are tarot decks that have different amounts than just the 78. But usually now, we're quite regiment with our tarot. It's from this deck called Rider-Waite, and that kind of in the 1900s kind of just made the rules, made it a bit more so that you could learn this way of doing it, and then from there you could expand your tarot if you wished. So whenever you learn tarot, usually they'll teach you the Rider-Waite deck, and that's why a lot of people don't really gel so well, because people don't like the imagery or they don't like the feeling of the cards, so then they give up. This happened to me when I first started, and I ended up just doing Oracle for years. But tarot, and I do teach tarot, and I do teach the Rider-Waite, but I encourage people to find a Rider-Waite-esque deck, so one that was modeled on this deck, but had its own feel to it. So for example, I have one called the Stained Glass, and it's beautiful. So it's still modeled on the Rider-Waite, but it looks very, very different from the Rider-Waite. Likewise, I have one called the Dragon one, or it's called, yeah, the Dragon Tarot, and it's just the Rider-Waite, but with dragons in it, right? So it's a way of learning the deck with cards that feel better for you and you can understand. But yeah, so just going off on a tangent there. So all that to say is that the Rider-Waite made these rules. So usually you will have a tarot deck that follows the 22 cards, and they're usually, even if they're not exactly the same word or name for the card, it usually is still represented in that kind of personification. So for example, my favorite deck, my favorite deck is the Druidcraft. And I should have probably got this out, but like the High Priest, number 5, right? In the Rider-Waite, it would be the Hierophant. Now they both have the same idea behind them. They both follow the same thing. This one has slightly different meaning, but because I learned the Hierophant, I was able to use that knowledge to learn this deck and this particular card better, rather than just starting from scratch, right? So you'll have cards that are slightly different, but if you learn the Rider-Waite first, it will be a lot easier just to jump different decks. Hope that made sense. And again, all that to say, so because you have this layout now, these rules from the Rider-Waite, you can then make them more in line with astrology if you wish. Now, some people don't agree with this, or some people change it slightly. So don't just take what I'm saying now as gospel, like it's, go with what you feel. But for example, the Emperor card in the tarot is usually linked to Aries, the sign Aries. And Aries, as we know, or if you know astrology, is ruled by Mars, the planet Mars. The card that represents Mars would be the Tower, right? So these two cards go together. But then what you can do is you can think about, if you know tarot, what words spring to mind when you think of an emperor, right? Or you think like, the king that protects and guards and does all this stuff, right? And then you've got Aries. If you're more with the astrology, what's Aries? Well, Aries is the ram. It's like, fire. It goes for what it wants, right? And they're very, very similar personalities and that kind of stuff, right? So you can use, if you're familiar with one and you're not familiar with the other, you can use each other to learn better, right? Another one would be the High Priestess. So she is associated with the moon, and the moon is ruled by Cancer. So see, we're doing it the other way around now. Cancer. The Cancer is represented by the card, the moon. Nice and easy, right? So again, we would look at the High Priestess and the moon elements and what things in the moon in astrology represent the things of the High Priestess. So they're both mystical, they're both illusion and sort of like feminine and that power, right? And the sort of magic. And then you look at the moon card, and that's the same thing, right? But it's also emotions. There's water in this card, which represents the emotional stuff in tarot. So that has Cancer, the star sign Cancer. And Cancer is very much about the emotions, right? The deep, deep emotions of a Cancer. So there we go. You can put these two together. So likewise, we have the minor arcana, the ones that were the suits, right? So this is a lot easier. And actually, I tell people to learn the minor before learning the major in tarot, which usually people will learn the other way around. But if you're just going to learn, do the minor first. Guarantee you'll actually learn better. So here we have the suit of wands. It is connected to the fire signs. These are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Then we have the suit of cups. Cups is represented by water. Now, water signs. That's Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Next, we have our swords. So the suit of swords shows us our air signs. Our air signs are Gemini, Libra, and surprisingly for a lot of people, Aquarius, because Aquarius is the water bearer and symbolized by these wavy lines that look like waves. But it's an air sign. Surprise! Always trips people up. And then we have Pentacles, which the Suit of Pentacles shows us our earth signs. So that is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So as you can see, if you can know one, or if you're learning at the same time both of them, you can actually interconnect them, overlap them, and they can actually already bring more depth to your reading just by, finding someone's astrology in the tarot. You can actually connect better with them, right? Or you can actually have a better understanding of the cards or astrology by knowing the other one. Okay, so how can we actually put these together? So there's things like finding your birth card. This can literally just be what's your star sign or what planet is that ruled by, and just do what we did earlier. Or you can do a thing where you add up your birthday. The day plus the month plus the year, and then plus the numbers that comes to individually until you get below 22, and then that is your card. You can do stuff like that. This actually is something that is usually taught in very, very basic tarot lessons and stuff, so I actually do this as well. Another way would be to do the tarot spreads. So you do 12 cards and they each represent, remember I said about houses, the slices of pie? So each of these houses is represented by a different sign. And then that sign, it tells us what that house is doing, what you do within that area of life. So for example, Aries usually is the first house when it's not just your birth chart. When it's your birth chart, it will change, but Aries is your first house, and the first house is about the self. So who are you at your core? What's your inner fire, right? All this kind of stuff. Then you have like the fourth house. The fourth house is your home and your family and stuff like that. And that's your Cancer as well. So it's the Cancer sign in there. So it's the emotions behind that. Then you'll have like the seventh house, which is your really close relationships, usually romantic as well. And so this is your Libra. So, you know, that kind of like sensual but fair and that kind of aspect within that. And you go around, each little house will have a different thing. So when you're doing a spread with your cards, you think of it as you're doing the houses rather than anything else. So when you're putting down your card, you're putting it in the first house, second house, third house, fourth house. And then whatever comes up in your cards is what matters in that area of life. So the second house would be, you know, your money and your security and that kind of stuff. But then the eighth house would be like shared money or debt and things like that, right? It could be like little bits and pieces like that. You can also line up when you're doing your tarot spreads depending on what's going on in the sky. So you remember I said about transits. Transits are what's happening in the sky at a given time. So if you wanted to do a spread to manifest something or to find out something or to enhance your intuition or something, you could find the best day, time through the astrology, or simply just like look at the moon phases, which moon phase is best for you, or do you need it when Jupiter is in the fifth house, right? So you find out when Jupiter is in the fifth house next, and yeah, if that's above your sun, even better. Like go for it, right? So, you know, you can line up when you're going to do certain tarot spreads, especially when you're trying to use them in magic or manifestation. You can line it up with the astrology as well. You could also just use it to enhance both of them. So you could do somebody's tarot and do their astrology chart, and you can actually answer questions from the other person or from yourself by using both modalities at the same time. So you can be looking at the aspects and where planets are and what signs houses are in and stuff like that. But then you could also be drawing tarot cards to be asking even deeper questions. Or if you're not so familiar with the astrology, you could be asking the tarot cards to clarify for you, to help you, right? So you can just play around with them together anyway. A lot of different modalities play really well together. So not just tarot and astrology. I actually did one about astrology and human design. So check that one out. But there's so many different things that can go together just beautifully and they can enhance each other. So definitely look into other things too. So really just start out basic, even if you know quite a bit about both of them, but you've never actually put them together, just start out gently. Just see which bits are familiar to you or which bits you can understand and just go from there. Take it slowly, go easy on yourself and enjoy it. And if you just know one of them, but you don't know the other one, try and see if they can help you learn. Yeah, it's really, really nice to see how they interact with each other, but overlap as well. Look at key correspondence, but also tap into your intuition. So just because something says in a book or online, this is what this card or this is what this planet means, but there's something about where it's placed or just at that time that you think means something else, especially incorporating other aspects of astrology and or tarot. Go with that because your instincts are usually right. Your intuition is usually right. So really, really try and tap into that kind of more mystic side of it, right? And that third eye and that, you know, intuition and knowing. Obviously with everything, practice, 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 and practice because you enjoy it. Don't do it because it's a chore, because you know, you have to learn it. Do it because it's fun. Right? As soon as it stops being fun, go do something else. Because especially with tarot, and this is going to sound really woo-woo and out there, but especially with tarot, they become like friends. So putting your energy into them, right? And so if you're just there with them, then they're just going to be there back to you, right? They're not going to help you. But if you just like, hi, how are you? Let's go have some fun today, then they're going to be enthusiastic as well, and they're going to really help you. And just when you're having fun, it takes away the logical brain and allows you just to have that freedom of thought and downloads and just those sparks of inspiration to come in. And then that way you can actually understand better than if you're just thinking, well, I pulled that card and I'm thinking it's this, but in the book it says it's that, so I'm wrong, right? Never do that. So I really hope that this has helped you to get your tarot deck and to get your astrology and smash them together and really like delve into and explore additions they can give to your knowledge already, and how working with them together can really expand both modalities. It's a really, really cool thing to do together. There are so many other ways, but obviously these videos can't go on forever, so I can't go into everything. But please do look up or contact me, and I'll be happy to give you some advice. Pretty much the tarot and the astrology together are just going to help you make even better decisions. They're going to help you understand yourself better. They're going to help you understand challenges and successes so much better. And it's going to help you really sort of strive forward a lot quicker and with more potential. Right, because you've got these two very, very knowledgeable, very, very helpful modalities that can accelerate you through life. Next week, we are doing Healing Naturally, your aromatherapy first aid guide. So if you're into aromatherapy, this one's really, really good. This will actually show you, I think, 12 different oils that I recommend that you have. Not all of them, just like pick one or two or five that resonate with you, but ones that I recommend to be in your first aid kit and how to use them. So yeah, that's going to be a really, really good one if you want more of a natural approach to just, the cuts and the grazes and the headaches and things like that. So tune in next week for that. As always, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share with anybody that you think might like this video or any of the other ones that I have done. Until next week, I wish you a wonderful week, everyone. Bye for now. From the Wisdom Well, keep shining, continue learning, and stay curious. Until next Wednesday.